savings on health insurance. And at the end of 2015, I was looking at what it was going to cost me to insure my family, which is a family of four at this point, two girls, one in college, one in high school. And I was going to have a $15,000 premium with the highest deductible of $13,700 I could find, which meant that I would, if we got sick in a catastrophic manner, or I would have to spend $28,700 before insurance started paying one penny. This is a mess. We all know it. And it's even worse than really any of us can imagine. Here is an infographic that I found kind of humorous that shows or tries to show Obamacare in some kind of flow chart. But this thing is not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. They're already forecasting 10 to 15% premium increases for 2017. So I started researching. This was a important decision for our family, as my wife is a breast cancer survivor. So it's not something that I can take lightly. We're basically a healthy family, but I've got to make sure that we are covered in the event that we were to have another cancer occurrence. So I started working through the process. And the first thing you have got to do is you've got to understand very, very clearly where you spent your money over the past year. And the farther back you can go, the better picture you can get on what potentially you'll be spending in the next 12 months. I put together a simple form which you can download from our site here, where I started outlining all of the expenditures for doctors, dentists, prescriptions, and then how we could forecast or try to predict what we would need to spend in 2016. And so as we came up to that forecast, we had to start calling our doctors. And this is something that you need to do because you've got to work closely in this new world with your doctors. So what you want to do is you want to call your primary care physicians and anybody else that you go to on a regular basis, your oncologist, your OBGYNs, your dentist. You need to talk to them who the office manager is that's going to have the billing and insurance responsibility. You want to tell them that you are a self-pay patient now and you're going to want to get their cash pay pricings, or you're going to want to note in your file that you are a cash pay person. Now, if you end up sticking with an insurance company and you want to shop, there's really not too big of a difference in the pricing. Obamacare has pretty much leveled the playing field with silver plans all priced about the same for gold and bronze. But what you want to start factoring in is if you get the cash pay pricing and you skip the insurance, how will that look in your budget? And the reason is this, is that if you have a $28,700 nut that you've got to hit, it doesn't matter if you spend $10,000 or $12,000, you are still going to be responsible for that payment. And if you can save 30% by skipping the insurance, then you're better off going the self-pay route than you are just running everything through the insurance company. We go into that in more detail in another article, but that's the premise that you want to start looking at. A self-pay pricing program can come out better for you in the long run, even if you have insurance. So, as you're looking at your upcoming visits, you're going to want them to send you kind of a pre-bill of the proposed visits with codes and CPT codes. The reason you want to do this is, let's say you have some vaccinations coming up. You want to be able to do a simple price shop, which is very hard if you can't do, if you don't have the CPT codes to accurately identify exactly what the procedure is going to be. We go again into more detail on this on another article. But for example, if you have an upcoming visit with a doctor that's going to require an MRI, you want to do a simple price shop for something like an MRI that will be significantly less expensive outside of a doctor hospital environment than it will be within the doctor environment. Same thing for vaccinations. You can go to a county health clinic, get the exact same vaccination for a fraction of the cost for what some doctors will pay. So this is just part of the new mindset of how you want to approach your health care. You want to get estimates, CPT codes before you go to the visit. Now, as I started looking around, the first place I looked, I knew some friends that were with a company called MediShare, or a ministry called MediShare. And I started evaluating and checking them out. And it got my attention very quickly because the premium that I would pay would be about $330, okay, for 2016, which would cover me for an unlimited amount of expenses once I'd had $10,000 in out-of-pocket expenses that I had met. Now, this is what got my attention and said, I need to look further into this. My 2016 estimate of $15,000 for health insurance premiums versus $4,000 for ministry coverage through the healthcare sharing ministry. I said, I've got to look into this. This is a savings of over 70%. It's very hard in my household to find savings opportunities like this. So this is what got my interest and caused me to look more into it. As I started looking into it, my comfort level really started going up. The ministry has been around for over 30 years. I literally could not find any complaints online. I had multiple conversations with their customer service reps who spent as much time with me as I needed, answered every single question, and really made me feel comfortable about making the change. There are some other healthcare sharing ministries also, and we write about this on the website, but Samaritan, CHM, and Liberty, all of them very high quality programs, all of them 30 plus years of history, and again, all of them have very, very good reviews and reputations. One of the things that the healthcare sharing ministries, one problem they solve is the Obamacare tax penalties. By law now, we are required to carry health insurance or we will face these penalties and other tax complications. This is a huge problem because the cheapest plan I could find was the $15,000 a month, $13,000 deductible program, the $28,000 program that I showed you at the beginning of this presentation. If I got any other kind of product, there are other products out there, short-term health insurance, catastrophic health insurance, different things, but Obamacare does not consider those as qualifiers to avoid the penalty. They are forcing us to purchase health insurance under the Obamacare plan. This is the penalty per adult, right here, $700 per adult for not having a qualified Obamacare policy. The healthcare sharing ministries avoid this penalty. So that's a plus. Now, you may go to, again, I mentioned worksheets, and all of the worksheets are available on the Affordable Care Coach. But here you'll see one that we put together to help you identify or evaluate the different ministries right here. Along with also we have a worksheet to help you with an insurance, health insurance versus the HCSMs. All of this is on the website, and you can go through it in more detail. But it does give you some bottom line numbers on what it would cost. MediShare was a program I went with because I wanted to make a decision fairly quickly. And we go into a little bit more of the other ministries on a different post. But you can see MediShare is a little bit more expensive when you look at the out-of-pocket for the gold plan. But again, that does cover unlimited expenses, and it's an extremely, extremely professional plan. Now, here is where I think we all ought to consider this, is that if I had made the switch 5 years ago, I probably could have saved over $50,000 in health insurance premiums. Now, that's a nice chunk to think of sitting in the bank, but more importantly, what would that have been worth 20 years from now? Or what would it be worth? And as I look at my ability to retire as a small business self-employed owner, this is where we have got to start being very careful with our money, because the chances and the opportunities for us to find savings like this are hard to come by. So I want to encourage each of us as small business owners or self-employed people to think about, if we can save money on our health insurance premium, what are we going to do with it? Whether it's invested in our health care or possibly invested in our retirement, because the retirement picture does not get any prettier for us that are possibly looking at government funded or supported retirement through Social Security, etc. So this is the short presentation on our post. I hope you have gotten some information out of it. Please go to our website and contact us with any questions or comments you may have. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a topic that you would like us to look into a little bit further, we'd be more than happy to. Thanks again for watching, and look forward to hearing from you in the near future.